Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid what Senator Joe Lieberman would have to do to lose his committee chairmanship. On Sunday, Senator Lieberman perhaps offered an answer. Our fourth story tonight, Leiberman now embracing the most scurrilous, divisive garbage the right wing has to offer against Barack Obama. Asked about the false rumor that Hamas endorsed Obama for president, Leiberman not only repeated it, he inserted his own tenuous links to insinuate that his fellow senator, fellow American, wishes death for America, death for Israel.
The fact that the spokesperson for Hamas would say they would welcome the election of Senator Obama really does raise the question why, and it suggests a difference between these two candidates. I think Hamas and Hezbollah, which is now control of Beirut apparently, are proxies, are wards of Iran, which is the very same country that constantly shouts death to America, death to Israel.
Boy, that's a long string right there. First of all, the spokesperson was actually the senior political advisor to this man, Ismail Haniyeh, elected as Palestinian prime minister from the political wing of Hamas, who's written op-eds for both the New York Times and the Washington Post. Second, the reporter quoting him was a right-wing neocon who sold a book last year using the line, "Why is Hillary Clinton the jihadist choice for president?" Thirdly, the nation's biggest Jewish groups have already defended Senator Obama against this stuff. Let's turn now to MSNBC political analyst Jonathan Alter, also, of course, senior editor at Newsweek. John, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
So McCain has what in Joe Lieberman? Is he a hatchet man? Is he a hatchet man sort of dressed up in independent or bipartisan clothing? What is his role?
Hatchet man's a good way to describe him, and it's very useful for John McCain. I mean, imagine if Barack Obama had Chuck Hagel or Richard Lugar or a respectable Republican senator who was going with him to all of these events. Very helpful with independent voters. But you got to realize Joe Lieberman has been a hatchet man going back to when he was first elected to the Senate. Mm-hmm. He shived Lowell Weicker in 1988 by saying he was, too close to Fidel Castro, which was kind of preposterous at the time. So what he does is sort of under these almost clerical clothing, he will pull out the knife and stick it in and use his piety and his reputation for moral rectitude as a cover for some very negative politics.
Oh, indeed. Just that slow, measured, almost put-you-to-sleep kind of speaking voice in which it allows him to get away with all sorts of things. But Lieberman did not mention about this supposed Hamas spokesperson why he was actually answering the question, why Obama? Let me read the exact quote. "I do believe he is like John Kennedy, great man with great principle, and he has a vision to change America to make it in a position to lead the world community, but not with domination and arrogance." Well, I mean, that's a political death sentence right there. I mean, who wants to come out against domination and arrogance?
Yeah. I mean, look, these Hamas, they are baby killers. But the point is that it's just ridiculous to associate this guilt by association that's going on in this campaign is reached almost absurd lengths. I mean, do we want to say, because John McCain went down to Liberty University, where Jerry Falwell was not long done with saying that we had it coming on 9/11, that this was retaliation for AIDS, God's vengeance, are we assuming that that somehow reflects John McCain's views? No. So why imply or suggest in any fashion that something that Hamas says tells us anything whatsoever about who Barack Obama is?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing, you use that, perhaps the John Hagee analogy. If you've sought somebody's endorsement, as McCain has John Hagee, well, that's one thing where you get the endorsement and everything that comes with the endorsement, including the guy. If somebody just, somebody from another galaxy were suddenly to support Obama, announce over some, international or interstellar communication system, you know where I'm going with this. It's everything travels backwards on any kind of connection. I say something about you, and therefore everything I've ever said about everybody in the world suddenly becomes your fault.
Well, this is what they have to work with, and they will. They'll use it, and you'll hear about Bill Ayers and anything that's at hand. They will use, but it does give them another weapon to have Joe Lieberman doing it.
This one in particular, this idea, though, that somehow the Democrat is automatically soft on terror, on international relations, on defending Israel, it worked to a great degree in 2002, 2004, not so much in 2006. Do we have any gauge on where voters in 2008 are on this, on their self-education on this?
Well, I think they're further along, and the policies of the last 7 years are pretty hard to defend, and so they're there is at least a chance, if Obama is a skillful enough candidate in framing the argument, that the war in Iraq was actually a distraction from catching al-Qaeda. He makes the point. He hasn't implanted the point in the consciousness of the American public yet. That's his challenge over time, and it's a political one. We don't know yet how he'll measure up, because we do know Republicans will come back with this soft on terrorism argument that they've been making so successfully against Democrats.
Our own Jonathan Alter, senior editor at Newsweek magazine. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Keith.
What did the